All right, hey, welcome to the first edition of Only on Fridays video edition. I'm going to take a look at each one of these. We do them every other week at some of the topics I've been reading in the news and maybe make some comments about them. Maybe alternate with a little bit of blog, right? Everybody likes videos. So let's get right to it. First topic, robots. Now, here's the reason why. We've got the PGs playing in the background. Is this guy is truly doing the strut better than John Travolta ever could do it, much less me. But this was 2013, right? So at that time, we still felt comfortable that, hey, this guy's walking on a treadmill, nothing to worry about. But then we get this. This is now current day, and we have 3 years later, basically, robots able to walk through shit that I couldn't walk through when I was stone cold sober. Now, when I first saw this, at the end here, you'll see the one that I saw where he's balancing on a beam. But I was like, holy cow, think of all the possibilities. I mean, I made a robot when I was in 3rd grade, and it was covered with like a tape recorder, and it was on a skateboard, and that was it. I thought that was pretty innovative. You know, it could move, and it could reply if I recorded back and forth to the right places. But this guy's actually doing way more and could enable things that truly, based on what they've done in 3 years, just think what they'll be at in 2025. I suspect we'll have robots running around, if not just on the planet Earth in bad conditioned areas, but also maybe in like Mars, the space, the moon, building shit so we can go live in it when they're all done. Look at this guy. Karate Kid's got nothing on this guy. So anyway, I thought it was cool in that. And the other thing that was interesting about it is now here's a more military grade looking guy, but Bill Gates had another interesting article where he was talking about how research was truly not working in corporate America or corporate structures because corporations tend not to invest in the long term or in just research for research's sake. And sure enough, all this work you're seeing here with these robots slowly evolving over time and getting better is all government funded. That's right, these are all robots via the DARPA program. So when you're wondering where your tax dollars going to, it's this little guy right here that just wants to pick up his box and put it away. Now see, this dude better be learning how to like use that stick as a weapon, because now this is even better. The dude gets right up. Yeah, this is where I would run. This is where I would wet myself and literally run. This is where he's standing. This is last heart. So this is where he's standing on the board. Watch the grace that he falls from this board. I mean, I can't even fall with this much grace from a board after I've stand on it this long. I would just kind of crumple and probably my knee would explode. Wait, it's right here. Nice. So, think about it, robots. Okay, next up we're going to try to mess with my teaching friends and family. Got an article about education, but oh, by the way, the prior stuff was from Gizmodo. If you don't subscribe to Gizmodo, it's pretty cool. Good site for technology, gearhead type stuff. But this article is actually from the National Post. They were talking about Ontario has seen massively dropping math scores because of their adoption of the discovery-based education process that we in the U.S. have also somewhat adopted. Think team learning. And when they sit, even in Middleton, they're doing this right now. The teachers get together and they're like, all right, we're going to put the kids together and we're going to kind of say, you need to solve this differential equation. The kids are like, what's a differential equation? And they're like, well, there's the books. Start talking amongst yourselves. I'll give you some guidance. I mean, it's not that bad, but the point is to let the kids try to figure it out because they feel that if you figure it out, you learn better. And we're seeing in Ontario, at least, potentially causation and correlation, not, potentially some lower math scores by half or something. I don't know. What was it? Grade 6 students are half of them are failing to meet provincial standards. But it got me thinking, because in there, of course, anytime you have a math conversation, you quote the China-based approach to or the Asian approach to math in China and I guess some other countries over there, but and point to their scores. And I started talking to people saying, well, what's the real difference here? You know, and we talked about, you know, is it because we have to teach everyone and they pick, you know, selectively pick who gets into education? So if you want it, you got to qualify actually to get to go to high school in certain countries in the Asian regions, like India is the same way, I think, in a lot of ways. Or is it because we are in this team-based model where we kind of sit and try to talk through things and they're more structured? They're set up like college where it's like lines of desks and they all face the proctor and they never leave the room, and the teacher comes in and speaks to them and there's silence, much like a temple, and then they, you know, give them the lowdown and then they walk out of the room and the students are just writing down everything that's being said. But remember the difference between China and the US and what China's trying to solve. Like when we fret about math scores, you know what China's fretting about? Creativity. And I would take creativity over rote memorization and application of such things. Things that are known. Learning things that are known and applying things that are known. I would take creativity over that, as long as you have a baseline of that other stuff. But you don't have to be the best at that. What you have to be the best at is asking the questions that have not been asked and figuring them out. So I think maybe Ontario's onto something. And we are as well. But we'll see. Stay tuned. Okay, third of 4 items in this episode. We're going to talk email servers. And no, it's not about Hillary's email servers. What we're going to talk about is something that I was shocked to find out last week. I was reading along and I hit this article from Newsweek where I think it was Nina Burley, that's how you say her name, but national politics correspondent for Newsweek, was basically giving a video overview of the fact that the Bush administration had, if Clinton's email server issue was the size of, I don't know, a rowboat, they were basically the Ark, if not Battlestar Galactica. They, for a 9-year period, they being the Bush administration, ran an email server provided, strangely enough, just like Hillary's, by their convention. So in this case, the RNC provided this email server, but it was widely used, which is interesting because remember how Colin Powell actually informally, Clinton had said she got advice from him to use it? Wonder why, right? Because they were using it with the Bush administration. Karl Rove used it almost exclusively. Our man Dick Cheney used it for a lot of stuff, but it gets even more interesting. When they were actually called and judicial hearings were set up to say, where are these emails, right? We've gone to war over with this. We want to have all the correspondence and understand what happened. They wouldn't give it over. They basically set up legal barriers. There was some stuff they did to run out the clock till they were out of office, and then they admitted that they'd lost the emails. But it gets worse. So our man, Dick Cheney, he actually had blocks of time leading up to the war, like days, that were actually lost. There's no email communications that can be found anywhere for him. Anywhere. What is going on? So I was like, when I read this, I wasn't really like, okay. I'm like, I already knew those guys were up to no good, but now my question is, what is Hillary's team doing? If the people say email server, I'm going to say precedent was set by the prior administration using this. Nobody did anything about it. And all I was doing was arranging yoga and like trying to figure out who to meet. That's all that you see in the emails that I had in my email server. And far more of my emails have been disclosed than any of the ones that were ever from Bush. And some were actually lost. Wow. Just wow. So if anybody brings up email server to you, just talk about that and say pot, kettle. Kettle, pot. Shut up. All right, so last topic for this time around, we're going to take a look at the debates that are coming up. I don't know if you've seen some of the articles, but just recently, Let me see here where this one was. This was in the Huffington Post. I haven't read the Huffington very much in a while, but here's one from them that I actually did. They were talking about how the moderators, and I mean it's really a pretty well covered topic, but they were talking about how the moderators were actually under serious pressure in the debates to be fact checkers, and how, you know, they were pressured to do that or not, and you're getting in trouble for being, you know, too contentious or not, and is it about them or the candidate, blah, 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 right? Here's what I can solve all this. I can solve it all, right? Because we all want to, when the candidates are going yip, 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 we want to know or have provided to us pretty quickly what are the rock-solid facts that they're bantering about, right? We want to see those. Change the format. Here's how it goes. Give Clinton some time on a topic. Give Trump some time on a topic. They're done. You moderator, you know. Then say, all right, let's go to a break, and we're going to go to the replay booth, the fact check booth, the truth booth, and when we come back, we'll have both parties' fact check teams present their perspective on what was said by both candidates. So as they're going, they would be doing the same thing, but it gives them both the time each candidate was talking, as well as the commercial break to rebut or provide factual points that they feel are rock solid, cannot be debated, right? And what we're really looking for is, you know, like, because Trump is really stretching the bounds a lot of times and speaking out of turn, and I'm sure Hillary does it too, but it would be interesting to see more of, like, if you could create that type of feeling of where there's a trusted party that's above the fray of the debate that then injects facts that then are like, hey, you can't debate these facts. Or you can, but you're dumb if you are. What a refreshing breeze that would be. I would be more interested in after the yipping section and the commercial break, I would be interested in the fact checkers coming back and saying, all right, here's what, and maybe fact checkers, maybe it would be most fun, is have each party fact check the other guy. So you can see them slinging on facts, right? These are the facts I would point out that were not right. These are the facts that, you know, because the other guys will just gloss it, but if you put them contentiously against each other, we get that good tension that we want to have. What do you think about that? All right, guys, that'll do it for this first edition of Only on Fridays video edition. Hope you liked it. I didn't have much time. I had to slam it out. But had parent-teacher conferences this week, but in future ones, maybe we'll get a little more ornate with it, but this should work for now. Have a good weekend, and go Packers!